Although this report does not have a strong sense of detail, I thought it would be worth noting the potential influence of the substances used in the days immediately preceding the mescaline trip. The entire 4 days seemed like one state kind of blended into the other, all coalescing into one gigantic brain tinkerer. A friend and I had gone away to stay with my mother in the country lake system. We were truly reveling in the open to experience, open to chance phase of our lives and the experiences it gave birth to. On the train on the way down from the city he showed me a rather curious little cookie, one specially prepared by his father, a pharmacist, scientist, which contained a very high concentration of synthesized mescaline and a considerable amount of THC. As I said, I am vague about the exact dosage details. I am not even sure whether this was THC which had been isolated, or oil, buds etc. The mescaline content was the result of months of lab work which started with the humble backyard San Pedro. On the first day, we woke and had what would have been roughly 100 mcg LSD for breakfast. As I said, seeking experience was our forte. We had the day to ourselves, and spent a while just talking, to establish a communicative field to house the trip. It was then decided to take the small dinghy-style boat out so that we could experience the onset of effects whilst floating, freely, peacefully in the lake. We stocked the boat up with beer and ventured forth. The trip was very mild, so some Salvinoran assistance was employed, still allowing for driving of the boat, a quick swim etc., but still rewarding us with a nice little spin on our external environment in the way of color definition and appreciation of surrounds. Really, it made for a rather enlightening moment or two. We returned for some rum. We then went onto the roof, overlooking the lake. We stayed up there, toaster as well, drank around 2 bottles of champagne and smoked a little salvia. This salvia drinking cycle continued for the next 12 hours or so, and a few times people we had met asked us, implored by our generally bizarre behavior, if we were tripping. The mescaline and THC cookie was shared sometime the next evening, following the consumption of a bottle of blue curacao. We went to a friend of a friend's house, sitting, waiting, listening to our insides. The effects became truly apparent when a print of a harp seal on the wall became animate. It was gesturing to us, smiling. Then it emerged from its paper backing, and was suddenly in 3-dimensional form, gradually leaving its frame casing. Naturally we wanted the seal to be free, so we started little incantations of the seal. We were being a little rowdy at this point, and had offended the small-town minds present in the room we had intruded into. We went walking, but experienced a strange phenomenon. This part really brought the mescaline to my attention. We would walk to the end of one street, turn the corner, and be back at the same street. We could not escape this one street. Defying panic, we tried to regain our orientation by recognition of houses, which was futile as they too took on an identical appearance when studied. This gave grounding for what convincingly felt like we were literally existing, functioning, in a parallel reality. When our friends found us, we had forgotten about them. We went back to a friend's house, where her mum made us watch, of all things, belly dancing videos. The THC had stolen all my saliva and I kept having strange muscular sensations which had me repeatedly checking if my limbs were twisted, detached etc. Although it may sound so, none of this was unpleasant. More uncomfortable as I felt strange behaving this way in front of my friend's mother. I tried to make logical conversation but ended up forgetting my motivation in speaking to her or what I was saying. I think she'd had enough of seeing my friend slumped very awkwardly against the wall groaning to a guitar he was cradling as well, because she gave her daughter, our friend, 2 joints and suggested we leave the house for a while. Now this really brought the effects into full force. I had just finished sharing one of the joints when the sky became liquid. It was turbulent, it was my mind up there before me. I lost coordination and spent about 5 minutes trying to get out of a 20 cm ditch. Strange stuff. We ended up back at the house, and I ended up in the girl's bed, as did my friend with her friend. Kissing was extremely unpleasant due to the chronic lack of saliva, like 2 sheets of sandpaper were settling for room. After a little while talking, kissing, drinking phenomenal amounts of water, I felt very tired and a little confused, and just wanted to go to sleep. I awoke the next day to no ill effect, no scattered state of mind as encountered with acids and other alkaloids. I left my first experience with mescaline very satisfied. I found it particularly interesting the way in which the essence of your state of mind become your surroundings, that is, I was my immediate environment, as mentioned earlier with the sky. I believe there is great depth to the relationship between internal and external environments, in terms of weather, emotion. It is all interrelated. My experience with the mescaline was a practical experiment in exercising this theory, I now realize. Yes, this is a bit of a vague account, apologies for the fact. But this was at a time when we were more spontaneous experimenters. Whereas now we are much more learned and methodically. Well, fellow earthlings, till next time, which shall be soon.